Hey doing folks, Tim Attitude2 OutstandingPoker.com. I'm here with another video, Leakfinder series. This week, a little bit different format than last week. Same Leakfinder sort of process, but what I've done this week is I have one of our members, Rack6666, who has graciously given me a bunch of his hand histories that I've loaded into my Hold'em Manager database, and I'm going to be going through some of them that I've picked out that I think have some some interesting hands, have some lessons to be learned, that sort of thing. So I have the reads that Rack would have on our opponents here, as I have all the hands that he's played up until this point. You'll see in my Hold'em Manager replayer I've selected stats up to day of hand. So I'm going in with sort of the same read, at least not being able to see sort of have a feel for the metagame against each opponent, which detracts a little bit, but I do have a read on their stats and can kind of judge on what type of overall player they are. So in my HUD here, I've kind of chosen a simplistic layout, given that we only have like a couple hundred hands at most on each of them. I've just selected some of the most significant stats that will be useful with this number of hands. I think most of the other stats, like the post-flop, like turn, c-bet percentage, that type of stuff, is going to be pretty insignificant at this point, so I've just taken them out for simplicity's sake, and I think they'll confuse a lot of people as well if we try to get into that. So right now I have like VPIP pre-flop raise as the first two numbers, and then their overall aggression factor, their 3-bet percentage on the first line. And then the second line is their street by street aggression frequency, so flop turn river in the aqua blue, and then their fold to 3-bet frequency, the last number in the second line. And then I think the third line is their c-bet percentage and their fold to c-bet percentage. Yeah. So first one is c-bet percentage, fold to c-bet, and then the last line in white is their positional opening numbers, which I think are very important when you're playing. So under the gun, mid position, cutoff, button, and small blind, unopened pre-flop raise percentage. So that's when everyone's folded to you in that certain spot, what percentage. So that'll help knowing what sort of range they have when they open up. So without further ado, I'm going to get into it here. The first hand, we'll see we've been dealt pocket aces, and it gets folded around to, we look at his stats. I don't know, Serpanti, I'm not sure what his full name, Serpentin 89. So alternate, right? He's playing 14-5, so this guy just never raises. In the cutoff, he's raising 9%. And as an exercise, I would advise you all to be familiar with what 9% means. And if you're not familiar, load up PokerStove. If you haven't used it before, it's free. Download it at PokerStove.com. I'm just going to clear it in here. And if I select a preflop range and I punch in 9%, I can see what the top 9% of hands are. So 9.2% of hands means pocket eights or better, down to ace jack or better, and then some suited kings, and ace jack suited, ace 10 suited. Now he might vary it a little bit. I mean, he might take out king 10 suited. He might take out, let's say, I don't know, ace jack suited, king jack suited even. He might add in pocket sevens maybe. So, I mean, it'll fluctuate a little bit, but in general, this is a very tight range, and now we can get a feel by knowing that 9% means this range of hands, how that hand will play on certain flops. So, now we know 9% is sort of pocket eights or better. We're around like ace jack, ace 10 suited, ace jack off, maybe king queen suited, king queen off. So our opponent opens 4 times the big blind, and we pick up pocket aces. This is pretty much a dream for us, and it's a no-brainer 3-bet. So I like how Rack decided to 3-bet. I think his 3-bet sizing is great. I think 56 cents from a raise of 16, so a little over 3x is, I think, a good amount. I think we're looking great so far. And to not 3-bet here is criminal against this type of guy, because this is a hand that dominates his calling range, and with a range like that,